into larger stores, develop this into an industry which creates job opportunities for whites. Since Lincoln was supposed to have freed the black man 100 years ago, and today the black man, according to the government economist, has spending power of $20 billion per year. We feel that with the black man spending $20 billion a year, not setting up any businesses, not creating any industry, not creating any job opportunities for his own kind, he's not in a moral position to point the finger today at the white man and tell the white man that he's discriminating against him for not giving him a job in factories that he himself set up. If the black man has $20 billion, and these so-called Negro leaders are such geniuses that they can integrate white restaurants and integrate white factories and force themselves into that which the white man has set up, they should use this same ingenuity to show the black people how to pool our wealth and set up something of our own. And then we won't have to force our way into his anymore. One more thing I would like to point out concerning what he said about 125th Street. We don't waste our time on 125th Street, but you can reach more people in the street who want to change than you can in the bourgeoisie society, the bourgeoisie church, and the bourgeoisie circus. Our program is directed toward the man in the street. So we spend our time in the street, and what we do with that man, instead of trying to change the white man in your mind, make you accept us, we change the mind of the black man and make him accept himself. Ooh. And as soon as he accepts himself, he'll solve his own problem. He won't be trying to force himself into your factory and into your bedroom and into your kitchen.
Brother Minister. Now, who does that sound like? Who's been saying that? Oh, God.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But I would like to add an addendum just to what Brother Malcolm just said. He said $20 billion. At the time in the 1960s, that was a lot of money.
Yeah,
okay?
That's a lot of money now.
Right. Today, it's $1.2 trillion that we spend in the black community.
And how much of the economy do we own?
1.5% of the economy. Here's the irony behind that. Slaves at the Emancipation Proclamation owned 1.5% of the economy in America. In 2019, black people own what? 1.5% of the economy. Something's wrong here. Okay?
No,
something's wrong.
Exactly the way it's supposed to
be. It's exactly the way they want it to be.
Now, it's exactly the way we want it.
Well, apparently so, because we continue to doing this. And that's the point he was making. We need to start blaming the white folks because we won't go to our own businesses. Hey, Black Friday coming up this weekend. How many of y'all going to black businesses? Raise your hand. That's what I thought. That's the damn problem. If you want to support black facts, call me up at 615-554-0568. It's the needle. It's the drugs that they shot in my spine.
Up in this piece this morning.
You know, I'm feeling extra super today.
So you want to have that fight today, then?
Super duper.
Main Street,
no, I probably.
Main Street 15.
Well, look, if we fought today, I'd probably rip your head out.
Oh, that's right. You got chemicals in there.
That's right.
Chemically strong today.
That's what I'm saying.
I better wait till next week.
I do you like the Predator? Snatch your head out, pull your spine out. Boy, don't mess with me.
Yeah, you sick. I need not mess with you today.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. We got guests in the studio. We act like this every day. They're like, them young people over there like, man, what's wrong with them guys, man? There's something wrong with them.
Yeah, they look good.
That's right. Don't mess with us. We crazy. I got you. You know what I'm saying? All right, so you got guests in the studio. Robin, introduce your guest, please.
Hey, we got Tayshawn O'Neal up in the spot, and she finna tell us about her event. And she brought a whole gang up in here with her. They looking hard back there. They're like, we about to take this room over. All right, introduce your folks to us. Introduce yourself and your people to us.
Right. Talking to the mic.
Yeah. My name is Tayshawn O'Neal, and I am the president of Chico Neighborhood Association in Southwest Little Rock. And today I have brought with me Wesley Peters, and I'm going to let him tell you and brag on himself because I just love all the great things he's doing. And the youth is really, really making some moves in Southwest, and that is why I brought him here today.
Yes, ma'am. So, yeah, I came with Miss T. We came to speak up for Southwest. We came to speak up for Southwest. There's so many things that's going on in our great community that just being overshadowed and overlooked, and we came to talk about it. I brought my family with me today, Erica, Al, So
What's up, America now? Peace.
we ready to jump into it.
All right.
All right. So, hey, tell us a little bit about why y'all here today.
All right. Well, I am here today. Of course, everyone heard about what's going on with the school district,
Right.
and everyone's talking about how it's going to be segregated, as if this is something that is in the future. But I am here to say that it has happened in Southwest and is happening in Southwest. And people say, why should we care about what goes on in the Southwest? Well, I'm here to tell you today that this new high school that they're building has to have filler schools. And if those kids from those filler schools do not fill up that new high school in Southwest, your child may possibly be going to that school, even if they go to Parkview or Central. If you pay taxes, you should care about what happens in Southwest Little Rock. I heard someone say, a prominent leader said that we have been trying to integrate Southwest into Little Rock for years. And I said to myself, that is the very reason why what's happening to the schools in Southwest is happening.
Wait. I got my hand up. That means I got a question. Who said that?
I can't say it. They're such a great person. If I say it, I can't leave this room.
Well,
They were black, and they're awesome, and they're a leader that we
Are they
really hold to heart.
it's not the mayor, is it?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Well,
So,
the reason I stopped you is because Southwest has always been a part of Little Rock.
Mm-hmm.
My stepbrother has lived in Southwest for I want to say at least 35 years.
Yes. Yes.
And if you look at me, I'm kind of melanistic, So I don't understand that statement. I guess that's what I'm saying.
I didn't either, but-
What is he trying to?
Well, what we were talking about the closing of schools in Southwest, and they were expressing to me how this was decided back in 2016 that they would build the Pinnacle View High School, and we would get a new high school in Southwest. But what they didn't tell or inform everyone is that the Pinnacle View School would be built 3 years before the one in Southwest Little Rock, and that they did not have to lose any schools to build Pinnacle View. It was an addition, and we lost 2 high schools to build our school in Southwest. Now, the monies that were to be allotted to Southwest, like Jay Fair and McClellan, the reason they didn't have football fields and things like that, is because the money was being reverted to the other side of Colonel Glenn. And I bring up Colonel Glenn's because that is the spot for the have and have-nots. Colonel Glenn is university, that's the spot. One side is Southwest and the other side it's going to be full of public schools. But the one in Southwest is going to be full of charter schools. The plan that is in place now is to, in the next 2 years, to close the K-8. I believe 8 could be more. And that school is going to be a middle school that's going to be in McClellan after we spend millions of dollars to repair McClellan. It's like Southwest going in a circle, but the circle's going to end with charter schools.
Right.
Because the law has been, I think now for 2 years, that any school in Little Rock, from the Little Rock School District, that is not being reused and closed, must go to a charter school. This means if me and Wesley said we wanted to spend $1 million and pay $600,000 above the price for that school, we cannot do that for a community center. It has to go to charter schools. And I want to say there is no statistical proof that charter schools are better than public schools.
Well, we're seeing that charter schools.
And
are
charter
failing
schools are
everywhere.
supposed to be, they're not supposed to be substitutes. They're supposed to be alternatives. They're not supposed to take the place of public schools. They're supposed to be choices. And yesterday, there was a article where 2 public charter schools in Pine Bluff were failing. They had Fs, and the board had said that they wanted to close those charter schools, but the Arkansas Board of Education said, no, keep them open. So if you think you're going to get quality charter schools in Southwest, you're not. You're going to get Walmart, and you're not going to get the Walmart on Chenal. You're going to get Walmart on Baseline charter schools. So when everyone thinks, oh, charter schools are great, this new high school is great, you need to remember, people don't do things because they want to. They do things because they have to. And everything they do has a motive behind it.
Well, let me ask you this: what's the racial demographic of Southwest now?
The funny thing about it is I think if you ask anyone, the mayor, governor, I don't think anyone can tell you how many people live in Southwest, to be honest with you. Everyone knows in Southwest that we have a high influx of Hispanics. We have a high influx of Hispanics that do not have paperwork. So we have no idea how many Hispanics are there. So I can say to you, well, statistically it says it's 67% African American. But if we really did the numbers, we wouldn't know. But the thing about it is that the African Americans are the ones that are showing up at the meetings. We're the ones that are always marching. We're the ones that are always fighting. But at the same time, it's like we're being overlooked. When we talked about the schools, all we talked about was no shade, the union, the union, the union. I went to numerous meetings that were said they were for the parents and for the closing of the schools, and it would always turn into something else. And Southwest Little Rock has been ignored. And the thing is that we're going to have an event on November the 30th, and we're going to hold that on the intersection of Colonel Glenn and University. And yes, we have a permit, so we won't be going to jail. And we're going to hold that event, and we're going to invite, and we have invited, and they have agreed to come, the LREA, Grassroots, and all those other organizations that were able to get all those people to go to the vigil at Central. We want them to show out for us too, because anything that happens on one side eventually is going to make it to the other side.
So tell us this. Tell us why it's important for us to come for you to have this event. Why is that important?
Well, it's very important because I don't think people realize that there is no real transitional plan for the kids of J.A. Fair or McClellan to go to this new high school. I asked Little Rock School District what's going to be the student to teacher ratio. We don't know. Where are going to be the filler schools? Well, we know we're going to pull the 300 Hispanics from Hall that are in the ESL program. We're going to get McClellan. We're going to get J.A. Fair. But that may not be enough to fill up that school. So they are going to have to pull black and brown from somewhere else.
Do you know how many students y'all have in Southwest?
In Southwest, I want to say, oh man, if you add up all of them, I couldn't tell you. I know that in Southwest Little Rock, we have a lot of elementary schools and we have a lot of middle schools. Right. The thing about it is that they're not of high quality.
Yeah, but my question is, do you have enough students to justify the elementary schools? Because if you got 13,000, well, you got a total of 25,000 kids in the district period, right?
Right.
So if you got 12,000 kids in Southwest and you got 6 schools, to some degree that justifies having additional schools. But if you only got 6,000 kids and you got 14 elementary schools, then yeah, I could see them closing a school or two, right? Because it would just make financial sense for the district.
And what I want to say to that is, if we go to the other side of Colonel Glenn, I can point out to you lots of schools in nice neighborhoods that have a low attendance rate, and that every year they're losing kids to charter schools.
And I think that's
they're not trying to close those schools. They're not trying to close those schools because those schools have A's, B's, and C's.
So what school, other than Forest Park, what school would you be talking about?
I want to say it's Meadowcliff. I think Meadowcliff is one of the schools that we discussed in one of the blueprint meetings, because Mr. Port had spoke about, I believe it was Meadowcliff, he was saying that every year they were losing kids, and now that, it's almost to the point to where they don't know if they're going to close the school or keep it open. I said, well, we should just close that school, and it did not happen, and it's not going to happen because it has good grades. If you had 2 schools that had F's, it would make sense for you to make one big F rather than have 2 F's. But if you have 7 or 8 A's or B's or C's, whether those schools are empty or not, if the grades are there, you're going to keep those schools open.
So the kids coming from McClellan, J.A. Fair, what other high school?
Hall, they're going to
and
pull
Hall.
the Hispanics.
So what's going to happen to Hall?
Hall will become, well, what happened was Hall decided that they wanted to fight back. Hall was going to be closed. That's why Hall's been neglected for the last 3 years. It was on the list. But that neighborhood got together and said, we want our school back. We want our neighborhood school back. They were complaining about crime, which is something I'm concerned about with the new high school. They were talking about at Hall how people skip school. Teenagers skip school. When they skip school...
I never skipped school.
Did you skip school, Robert?
Who, me? Oh, God.
Wesley, did you?
Yeah, I skipped school.
Wesley!
Oh my God! No, you're off the show right now, young man!
This,
How dare you!
There's no school skipping. You never admit that.
Gosh.
Wes like, oh man, all the time.
I just went to campus in.
And they were just complaining about the crime, like the truancy, robbing of houses, robbing of cars. So it was decided that they would get their school back. And how they're going to get their school back is taking the 300 Hispanics on the ESL program and taking all the social services programs and moving them to the new high school in Southwest Little Rock. Again, if your kid needs special services, they're most likely going to end up at the new high school in Southwest Little Rock because that's where they're taking the social services.
So when you mean, so expound special services, what do you mean?
Well, Hall is one of the great schools and the only high school here in Little Rock that has an ESL program. Meaning that if you come to America and you don't speak English, they will take you and move you, fast track you. I mean, those kids over there do awesome from the day they get to Hall to graduation. They have a wonderful Advent program over there, which is mostly Hispanic. And that's a program that only Hall has. So when you take that program away, and you take 90% of the Hispanics away, you're giving them their school back. And you know what that means when they want their school back. That means they want as many Hispanics and blacks out. Not Hall, the neighborhood per se, but when they voice their concerns, that's what they came up with the Little Rock School District. Keep the school open, pull the black and brown out, and take them back to Southwest where they came from.
So let me ask you a question. Who is your city director in that area?
Ken Richardson.
And who is the at-large person?
Dun, dun, dun. It's John Adcock.
Okay.
She sounds soft. She said that. She was like, it's June Adcock.
Yeah.
John Adcock. Everyone knows John Adcock.
What has, because I know Ken Richardson has come out in support of Little Rock schools. What has Joan Adcock said about the support of Little Rock schools?
I'm glad you asked.
I'm glad to be asking.
I am a member of the Southwest United for Progress. That is a organization in Southwest which if you want to build anything, you want to come to Southwest and build a charter school, bring a restaurant, people go there to get their vote on if it's going to be something that Southwest would want. I asked to be on the agenda to speak about the schools, but I was told that I could not because they had LREA and Joyce coming to speak on that, and that my voice was not going to be needed. Jane Adcock was there, and BJ Wyrick were there. And when I asked her why I was not able to get on the agenda, I was screamed and hollered at. And Joan Adcock said nothing. BJ Wyrick said nothing. As a matter of fact, they left the room with the president and stayed gone to the end of the meeting. So not only does she not speak up, but when someone else does, she leaves the room.
You know, it sounds like to me what your problem is.
Hold on
You're a troublemaker. That's what your problem is.
Hold on one second, Dave. You said that Joan Adcock
Joan Adcock.
and
BJ
BJ Wyrick left with the LREA president?
No, BJ, she stayed to the end of the meeting.
So who did
Joan left with the president
Of the LREA?
of Southwest
Okay.
United for Progress. Because after she
With
hollered,
Pam Adcock.
yes, after she screamed and hollered at me, they were so embarrassed because they didn't realize it was being recorded that they had to go outside and discuss that. So again, not only did Joan not speak up, but when I spoke up, they left the room.
Black folks trying to run over y'all out there.
Well, I'm thinking, so you got J.A. Fair, McClellan, those schools, potentially kids from Hall. How many of these, how large is this school supposed to be?
They said that it could be 2,000, is that
Went to the high
the
school?
new high school? Because you can't get the real capacity. When you do the information request, they just say everything's in motion. They won't know till, maybe spring or this summer. So they don't know how many kids will be going. They don't know where the teachers are coming from. And I want to say, too, this is very important. Very important. This is what really made me do this event. November the 30th, 2 o'clock to 3:30 at the intersect of Colonel Glenn and University. When I was going to those LREA meetings, I wanted someone to stand up and say, hey, did anyone know that every teacher from J.A. Fair and McClellan has to reapply for their job? And if they are not chosen, they will be unemployed. No one spoke up for them. Can you imagine the anxiety the students and the teachers have in Southwest Little Rock? Not knowing where you're gonna go, not going to have a job, not knowing your bus route. Are you walking? Are you riding? There is a law now. There can be up to 30 kids in the classroom at this new high school. If you couldn't successfully teach 25 of these kids in the F schools, how on God's green earth are you gonna do 2,000 with 30 plus in the class?
And part of the problem with teachers not being able to teach some of these kids even today is because classrooms are too big.
Well, if the data suggests, if the data has proven out that smaller classrooms show better results.
Exactly.
If you look at the Little Rock grade, it's 23. It looks like about 23
The
kids.
average,
It's where when you go over there and you get your ABC schools, you're gonna look at 23.
Well, they're saying 20. Let's say in the article I read said 20 and below.
Yeah.
You have really good numbers.
We got a stretch here in Little Rock, so we got to give us 23.
Right, but if that's the case, that we know that those smaller numbers work better, why are we now jamming 40 kids into a classroom versus 20? I mean,
Because if you have two F schools and you can make it one big F school and you can segregate all those kids in one big building and just let whatever happen, that sounds like a better plan than actually fixing McClellan, fixing J.A. Fair, and taking the time to do what needs to be done to keep the schools in Southwest public and not charter. Because to me, I don't understand how we would allow, because we did allow this, because McClellan and Cloverdale's been sinking for 6 years. Okay, 6 years it's been sinking in the ground. And McClellan hasn't had a football field. So we allowed that to happen. So my question is, we're going to take the kids out of McClellan, spend $6 million to put them back in McClellan, and close other schools and sell to charter school. It sounds like to me we're going in a big circle, but the circle will end with us in Southwest not getting quality education.
The circle will end with our kids in prison.
That's a good point.
Honestly, I went down to New Orleans about a year and a. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I went down to New Orleans about a year and a half ago. I met with a group called Sophia. It's ran by a lady named Miss Mary. And what goes on in New Orleans is a lot of charter schools. Charter schools is honestly the way America in general is going. You could look at places like Maryland and see similar problems. But the root of the issue is the qualifications that you have to have in order to open up these charter schools. Who can come and teach at these charter schools?
Right.
Are teachers secure in their jobs? No, they're not. So whenever you open up a school with no transition plan, whenever you close down a school and you close off busing and you close off student unions, well, you're really asking for a continuum of the school to prison pipeline. So
Right.
that's what we're getting prepared for. I just wanted to intersect real quick.
Okay.
And that's one thing that that's why I had brought Wesley in, because I had spoken before about, we can go back to when civil rights, with Martin Luther King. We know it's the youth that eventually made the turn. And I think that they know all of our tricks at LRSD, they know all our faces, and they know their game. It's time to bring in some youth with some new voices and some new game plans.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that.
I totally agree with you. And to your point, my young brother, U.S. taxpayers spent almost $1 billion incarcerating innocent black people. So the fascinating thing about this is that we know this.
Right.
The information is out there, but we allow them to continue to do what they're doing to us. And it is incumbent upon us now to start, I remember back in the 2000s, just before the turn of the 2000s, they kept, when I was in the computer industry, they kept saying, we went to a seminar and he said the most powerful weapon in the future. What do y'all think it's going to be? What do y'all think they said to me at that point?
It's our dollar.
Mm-mm.
I'm listening, Dave. I don't know.
Information.
Information's always been important.
Okay?
Information.
And
moves the
how you use that information, how you package that information, how you store that information will set the table on who controls the country. Who controls the country right now with information?
We don't.
Facebook. You get my point. Mm-hmm. So we have to start using information to empower our people to make these changes, because it's out there. Y'all are exactly right. This thing about charter schools is nothing but Walmart. They're trying to privatize education so Walmart can make money. That's the bottom line. They simply don't care about black children and educating black children. They never have. Okay? If they did, we would have never had Little Rock Central. We would have never had the Greensboro 12, and the list goes on and on and on. So what we have to do as black people is what we talk about every day, what I talked about in the Black Facts, is that we have to empower ourselves. We need to be educating. See, I'm a little different from most. Here's what I say. Okay, let's get those things in place to open our own charter schools.
See, that's yeah.
Okay? And let's educate our own children. Okay? Because just like we say about the gun situation, if all black people all of a sudden started registering for guns, we'd solve the gun problem. Okay? So if we want to solve the problem with charter schools, black people start educating their own children in charter schools, it'll go away.
We
But check
don't
this
even
out.
want to give each other jobs.
Well, that's the problem.
But check this out. Drive down 12th Street, drive anywhere in Southwest, drive up and down Asher Avenue, take a couple turns, and what you'll see is a lot of abandoned churches.
Yep.
So the thing is, we have the buildings,
Mhm.
and if you look up right now how to start a charter school in Arkansas, the qualifications
It's very minimal.
minimal.
Yeah.
Have your 501c3 set up, have a plan, how many students are going to enter. And at the point that we're at right now, as mentioned earlier, we don't need big classrooms full of students. We
No.
actually need our schools to be ran more community
Community-based.
anyway. And the point that we're at, we're at our cusp as black people. We're closer to freedom than we've ever been before, but we're at the same time closer to our demise than ever before. You've never seen this many black businesses. So my thing is, if we have these black businesses, they then become the educators. So
He's been listening to my show.
so these black people who are in education with the PhDs make these partnerships with the churches. And y'all come together with the black business community and let's start educating the kids in the ways in which we would want them to be educated. We listen to Malcolm, change the mind of the black man.
Mm-hmm.
That only comes through education of the children. I spend time in elementary schools all day. I write children's books.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, they're hungry and they know. They're hungry and they know, but at the same time, it's an agenda being pushed against them that's pushing them straight to prison.
Mm-hmm.
And us sitting here talking about it does so much.
Well, we talk about this stuff every day, and you make an excellent point. It is up to us. See, I told y'all a long time ago, I'm done carrying that water. Done. I ain't carrying LGBT. I ain't carrying Hispanic. I ain't carrying Asian. I ain't carrying Arabs. I'm carrying, if it ain't got melanin, it ain't got me. I'm just saying, okay? And until we do that, we are the only people that boycott our own businesses. We are the only people that boycott our own businesses. And then we run to politicians begging them to fund us. We can fund ourselves. You see what I'm saying? We can fund ourselves. It's time for us to do this. That we need to get rid of this mentality that the white man's ice is colder. Oh, we can't do anything without the white man. Yeah, you can. You have been brainwashed, my brothers and sisters, and it's time for you all to stand up and start walking on your own 2 feet. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at Robert. Robert?
Why you looking at me? You get everybody charged up. Robert, why don't you add to that?
And what would you like to add to that, Mr. Well?
You know, I mean, hey, honestly, man, how can I not be negative right now? I don't know. So this is the thing. I think we're in a very unique situation, and that situation is that LRSD has decided they're gonna do what they're gonna do. Mm-hmm. We've not positioned ourselves to have a conversation about how it looks as we move forward, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's unfortunate because you can't have a movement like this be so strong and you not start having those conversations. Right. Because you just, man, at the end of it, I mean, I don't want to criticize anybody. I don't want somebody to criticize anybody. But when you have an issue this important, you have to be having conversations. And so I suggest to y'all that before you start, before you get out there too far, too fast, try to have some conversations first. Talk to some of the people in power and share with them your ideals and what you see and what you believe could possibly happen. Because I think what often happens is we jump out there and we are pissed. And rightly so, right? But the bad thing about being pissed is when you jump out there and you're pissed, you haven't had a conversation with anybody. And all they see is this angry black person. And of course, they're already scared of you. So if you're an angry black person already, more likely, you're not going to get a conversation. So I say before you do that, start having some conversations. Talk to Johnny Key. Talk to Mike Poore. Try to send an email or a letter to the governor. Create that space to have conversations, right? Because that's important. You always want to be able to have backdoor conversations.
Here's the thing. Now, you know me, and you know I've been on this boat for a long time. And when you say that, when I came to you 2 years ago about this school thing, I was just a big ball of hot passion. No facts, nothing. I didn't know how to even get an information request. Just a big hot bowl of passion. Just mad as hell at everybody.
Right.
And you
Did
told
you come
me,
a long way?
between you two, Wesley, and you, I've come a long way. And I have had those conversations. I sat down with Mike Poore, and he told me we would be able to have input on the new high school and the new. It didn't happen. I have wrote emails. I have went to every LRSD blueprint meeting. I have went to LREA meetings. I have went to AE8 meetings. I went to BBO and BBW meetings. I have opened up and had every conversation. But what you need to understand is that they only want to have conversation with people with the money. The people that have been in power, the people that have names out there. When you have people like me and Wesley coming up, they look at the first thing they ask us is, who are you with? Who are you with? When I blasted out this flyer about the event, at first I didn't even put who we were because I wanted to see what the reaction would be. And the reaction was, who's behind this? Who's behind this? Because the first thing it said was, students don't have unions, they have parents. And that's true. Kids don't have unions. We don't have millions of dollars behind us. I don't have someone to make me some t-shirts and give me some lights for a venture. I don't have that. It's just us.
Let me, because I disagree with Robert.
What? You agree with the black aristocrats?
Here's
black
why.
aristocrat finna tell folks with the tags.
Here's
with
why.
the paper tags. What's up?
I disagree with reaching out to them because
Been there, done that.
this governor, and I'm glad you said that.
I've been there, done that.
This governor, this Republican administration in this state and this city has told black people 5 years ago to kiss their ass. Okay? So I'm done trying to open up those doors. Okay? So what I would recommend, I'm a little bit different from Robert, because Robert's a capitalist now. He's no longer an advocate. Okay? What I would recommend is this, is that I recommend that you continue to organize. Okay? And just like you mentioned the 501c3, you can set up a organization with a 501c3 to organize and fight and talk about these issues. Because at the end of the day, we have to look at it and fight differently. They don't care about us anymore. They've proven that. So talking to them is like talking to a wall. That's just my opinion. So what we've got to do is start organizing young people like you, because see, I'm behind y'all. I'm not behind this old guy. Okay? We need our young people out there fight. Okay, yeah. I can't fight no more. You just heard me. I wasn't kidding about my back. I'm done. But I sure as hell will empower you all and help you fight. Because if you go back, and clearly you know history, it was young people who were fighting in the 60s. It was not grown folks. It was grown folks who were strategizing. But it was you guys who were on the front lines every day with those water cannons and those dogs being sicked on you and those rubber bullets being shot at you. So if we are going to initiate change, that change must come from you all. You cannot allow anyone, old fogey, to say, hey, well, don't do it that way. Because that's what they were saying to them back then. We need change in this city. We need advocates who are willing to get out there and fight for change. And we need young people who are willing to listen to older people and say, hey, look, how did y'all do it? How can we move this forward? I'm behind you, brother. Anything you need. Now, Robert, he's a capitalist now. You know,
And the thing,
Why you hating? Why you hating?
and the thing, Mr. Robert, I'm for conversations too. But we also have to understand that this is the same governor. This is off the cusp of this conversation. But it's the same conversation. This is the same governor who lethal injections were going out in Arkansas, and the pharmaceuticals contacted the governor, and the governor said, let's push 8 deaths. Mm-hmm. So this is the same governor pushing this type of pen. So we have to we understand at the bottom line, Walmart is at the table with their homeboys, and deals are being made just like that. I'm not at the table with Walmart. They're not inviting me in. So therefore, therefore.
You can go up there and get a sweet potato pie. Yeah. You know, you can get a sweet potato pie.
Exactly. So the conversation then has to shift to the people.
All right, so I'm gonna give you the one piece of advice I wish somebody had gave me 14 years ago. You ready? Don't fight this fight without no money. Figure out a way to fund the fight.
Yeah.
If you can't fund the struggle, don't do it.
True.
Right.
Because it's gonna be miserable. Nobody told me that 14 years ago.
And that's where the organizing comes from. Mm-hmm. That's where you need to go and start talking to young people just like you and say, hey, look, here's what we're going to do.
Because you're going up against a lot of money.
You're going up against a lot of money. But see, you can defeat money if you have some money and you have numbers. Right now, you have none of it.
But you got to educate your folks.
Right. So you got to start going and talking to your young people and saying, y'all need to be meeting on a regular basis. Don't call black folks and say, hey, man, we meeting at 7 o'clock on Wednesday. I don't want to know. You call me on my personal phone and say, Mr. Coleman, we're having a meeting. You want to drop by? Okay? You keep it clandestine, in other words, okay? You organize behind closed doors, and then when you're ready to make a move, you make that move and they're not ready for you, okay? So that's how you do that. But in the meantime, just like you're going to movies, just like you're spending money on your Nikes, take $5 and say, hey, let's create this fund, folks. Give me $5 every time we meet. Okay, and make sure you're good stewards of that money. So when you need to make T-shirts, when you need to make signs, you can go ahead and get those things printed up. All of that stuff was taught to us by the Black Panthers. If you go back and you look at what the Black Panthers did in Oakland, and you look at, they printed all their material. They printed all their newspapers. You know, they didn't have to go to white people and have it printed. Okay, because as soon as you go to Kinko's and have it printed, they're gonna keep a copy and they're gonna say, let me send this to my white governor friend or my white Republican friend. You see what I'm saying? So you get your own stuff printed. You get your own. I know black people are creative. I know you got some graphic artists who can do Photoshop. Look, y'all gotta understand the power that y'all have. The problem that we have with our young people is that y'all don't understand the power that you have. This is why I talk about history so much. If you simply go back and look at any movement in history, from the early Egypt to Soweto in South Africa, to the civil rights movement here in America, it was black children who moved countries, who moved this world. Y'all got to start believing, my brother. Y'all don't believe yet. And you got to start talking to your friends and saying, hey, look, this is how we got to make change.
How you going to tell that man he don't believe yet?
That's motivational. That's motivation.
You don't believe, boy. Let me show you how to believe.
He understands what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, you know, I really hope that this will either prove or set some rumors to bed. My plan is for, as I said, the LREA, the grassroots, and all those other organizations, I want them to come out in their red. We, however, are going to wear black. We are going to wear black. We are one city, and we want to be united. We want it to be seen that there is definitely a difference in the way we're being treated. And on the turnout, that will also show us who's really down for the kids in Little Rock School District and who's just down for their own agenda.
Hey, we got a caller. Caller, what's your name? And welcome to Black Focus Radio. Hello. Hello, caller. What's your name? Welcome to Black Focus Radio. I guess they hang on. Okay. All right. So this event again is
November the 30th. The intersection, Saturday, November the 30th. The intersection of Colonel Glenn and University. We will be between Walgreens and Big Lots. And then the other side, I guess we'll have that grassy knoll over there where Taco Bell is on the other side.
Okay. Let's go back to the phones. We got a caller. Caller, what's your name? And welcome to Black Focus Radio.
which I disagree with all of you. You got all this education, and it's a simple problem that y'all can't solve. Number one, these children are smart enough to know there's no consequences as to what they do at school. I don't understand why they can't bring back punishment, corporal punishment. They're bored. They're tallow. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Bring the wood, baby.
All it takes is the school system to hire people for punishment. That stops the parents from coming up fighting the teachers. That stops all that chaos. These so-called parents, these women that's walking around in their pajamas all day getting these checks for these kids that need their butt whooped. The law needs to make them come up 2 days a week and sit in the classroom with their children to make sure their children are learning. The problem is it can be fixed if somebody wants to fix it.
So you're thinking that if paddling and parents came up 2 days a week, that would solve the lack of hang on. That would solve the lack of funding that the state government gives to schools. You're saying that would fix that problem? Because that's part of the problem.
If you on welfare, you on Section 8, and you sit at home all day in your pajamas, smoke cigarettes, and walk around with hair bunnies, and you can't pay for your child's lunch, you getting $700 to $800 checks for these children, and you can't pay for their lunch. Come on now. If you put a program in place where these so-called mothers have to come up to the school and make sure their children act right and learn, you can solve this problem.
Would that include the fathers too? Would the fathers have to come up 2 days a week?
All of them. They don't work. They're sitting at home getting a check. Well, they can't come up there.
Now the fathers ain't getting checks. Just the mothers getting checks. But why shouldn't the fathers be responsible for the education of their children just like the mothers are?
I'm gonna tell you how to get the fathers up there. Take them driving license. Start garnishing on checks when you don't come there and see about your child. All these free programs. See, black folks like a lot of free stuff, and we go along with this. This is what our problem is. That's our main problem. Free programs. Cut these programs out. You can't come check on your child, see about your child, cut their funding out to Section 8. Cut them food stamps off. These folks may getting $1,500 worth of food stamps, and before the end of the month is over, they done sold half of them. But your child can't pay for his lunch. That's ridiculous, man.
All right, caller. It's a lot more complex than that. But hey, caller, thanks for calling. We appreciate your input.
Peace.
Any comments before we wrap up?
No, go ahead.
Any comments before we wrap up?
No, just appreciate that caller. We love to hear those type of input that lets us know where we're at. So
y'all have been politically correct.
yes, we are.
But let me tell you, this is not a politically correct wrong, and he's wrong as rain. I'm just going to be real with you, okay? Because number one, it suggested to me that he was talking about black women on welfare, where in this country there are more white people on welfare than there are black people on welfare. And oh, by the way, last I checked, if you are getting Section 8 and some of those other benefits, you are required to work, okay? You don't sit at home. I'm sorry, that just doesn't happen. That's a Republican myth that has been promulgated out there by the Republican Party. Now, I don't know what political persuasion that guy was, and he's certainly entitled to his opinion. But at the end of the day, if we're going to talk about issues and how to solve problems, let's talk with facts here. All right. Oh, and by the way, they're already taking driver's license from fathers. Okay. That hasn't worked. You know what it has done? It has caused fathers to lose jobs because they cannot get to work. Or if they get to work and they're pulled over by the police, then they are arrested and put in the system because they didn't have a driver's license. By the way, you're talking to the father's rights advocate here. All right. So no, brother, I'm sorry. You are way off base. This is systematic. It is called white supremacy, okay? It is called racism, all right? It is a social construct designed to destroy black people. And until we understand that, until we take that in our minds and say, hey, we are no longer going to allow white supremacy to destroy us, we are going to continue down the path that you're thinking. It ain't the black folks' fault. It ain't the mama's fault. It's the system's fault. Now, can we do better as far as utilizing the system? Yes, we can. But no, we're not going to blame this on people. This is by design. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we've been listening to you.
I'm just saying. That boy was listening to the show.
I'm just saying. I listen to every day. I love when you say that. I love when you say that.
So anyway, so look, we appreciate you all coming in. Anything I can do, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm planning to have a rites of passage camp for young black men in June. I want you to be a part of it, okay? And I'm telling you all to get the details about this after the first of the year, but we are going to have a rites of passage camp. In fact, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw it out there, for some weird reason, Jawanza Kunjufu sent me an email yesterday. And I was like, huh. So I'm going to try and reach out to Dr. Kunjufu to see how we can figure out and bring him here doing that rites of passage program as well. Okay? Because if we're going to be serious about changing our dynamics with our community, then we have to change it. We got to change it. Nobody else can change it. We got to educate ourselves, as I like to say. And hey, I'm borrowing Jesse Jackson. No one can save us from us, for us, but us. I've been saying that for decades. I believe in it. You heard Malcolm X speak from the grave in 1964 about that very same thing at the beginning of this show. Stop begging them for jobs. We can make our own jobs. We just have to believe in ourselves, and we have to destroy this mental side that has been committed against our people. And that's what I got to say about this. Hey, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
It's the shot, man.
On your soapbox.
It's the shot. It's the shot. I mean, I can put my hand over my head like this now. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I need some more than drugs. You know, man, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound.
November 3, right? November 30th.
November 30th, 2 o'clock to 3:30, the intersection of Colonel Glenn and University. Be there or be square.
So, okay, the intersection. Are you going to be on one side?
We're going to be on both sides. My plan would be, I would love to have the LREA and Grassroots on one side, and that's going to be the Big Lots Walgreens side and the red shirts, and then those from Southwest, this is for the parents and this is for the students.
Oh.
And we would like for them to be on the opposite side. Again, we're black, and there is a Facebook page. It is Southwest Action Team. If you're mad about what you heard or you're glad about what you heard, look at that, leave a message, and let us know.
All right.
Hey,
That.
thanks for coming in. I'm proud of you, young brothers and sisters, man.
Yeah, do your thing. Good luck.
You're going to have to do something with that Frodo, dog. I'm just letting you know, You see some of them old froze back in the day, right? Get it right, bro. I don't mind you being natural, but come on, man. Yeah. I'm like that. I'm just messing with you, man. I got it. Hey. All right, we got to get out of here. Hey, thanks for coming in. Enjoyed the conversation. It's Black Focus Radio. We got to take the top of the hour break. We're a few minutes behind. Our listeners, our issues, our solutions, our voices on joynetradio.com.
I gotta do something real quick. It's not gonna be on the radio. We just gonna act like it's on the radio.
Oh, okay. We got you got about a 4-minute break. So.
All right, cool.
Oh, I should have took a pic, huh? Ready?
Yeah. And the last thing, today is my birthday, and as a lot of y'all know, we're doing crowdfunding for the app that we're building, Living Media. So cash out $2.30 to money sign Living Media. That's money sign LIVINMEDIA.
All right. What is it? Money sign?
Money sign.
I ain't got no cash, man. Let me say, I got some pennies.
And don't forget to give me your card, Wesley.
I'm finna go to the car.
Okay. Let's see.
Appreciate
Yes.
y'all for letting me.
All right, man. Well, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Keep up the good work, man. All right. Y'all keep moving forward.
Gotta knock it out.
Y'all keep moving forward. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff.
Thank y'all so much.
Sure. No problem. Okay. All right. What positive brothers like that? See, that's what I'm saying. That's what we need.
Yeah, do that there.
I didn't drive.
Just send it to blackfocusradio@gmail.com.
I got you.
Blackfocusradio@gmail.com.
Alright, cool.
Okay?
So money sign LIVIN.
Money sign LIVIN.
Here you go.
Cash app, right?
Uh-huh.
Tell me again. Hold on, let me find it.
Robert is dyslexic, so it's going to take him a moment.
You funny.
I'm trying to see, is it
Focus radio.
blackfocusradio@gmail.com?
Tell me what it is.
The money sign LIVIN.
Media.
Media.
MEKE.
MEDIA. Media.
That's not you right there?
I came in here before with Frank.
Oh yeah, he came with he came with Frank now.
Frank who?
Media.
You talking about the mayor? Oh, okay.
Field director.
Oh, okay, okay.
Living media.
I'm gonna bring a book back here too.
Okay. Yeah, you're an author. We're planning to go to Los Angeles to Black Writers on Tour, where we're trying to take some black authors from Little Rock. It's the largest black author meeting in the West, and they'll have over 200 authors there, and it'll be a great opportunity for you to push your book. So, and it's March 28th, the last weekend, the last Saturday in March. So put that on your calendar because I'm an author too. I write novels.
Okay.
So I'm redoing my first novel and writing my second one right now. So make sure you stay in touch with me. All
I'm
right.
gonna bring it up here next week.
Okay. Cool.
Alright, cool. That's
Cool.
good.
All right, man.
Sounds good.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Take it easy, man. All right. Appreciate it.
The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, and our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues.
Tanya says that dude is an idiot. That guy.
Well,
What was he on? I was looking at your face. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, boy. All right, welcome back to the show. And thanks. Look, I enjoyed. Look, you know, the biggest kick I got out of that is that young brother right there telling people, showing you that, hey, all our young people are not. Now he probably chasing women too, but I ain't hating on him. But to see that positivity coming out of him, see, that's what we ought to be doing, man. We ought to be mentors to young brothers and sisters. And what y'all didn't see, there was two other people in here, two other young people in here as well, a young sister and another young brother. We ought to be nothing but mentors to them. What we ought to be doing right now is saying, hey, young brother, it's kind of like, when you take your nephew fishing or your son fishing for the first time, and you give him all the tricks of the trade. You know what I'm saying? When it's this kind of weather, you fish with this bait. When it's this kind of weather, you fish in this corner.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You give him all the tricks of the trade, so once you're gone, he can now go out and fish and teach his children the tricks of the trade. That's what we're not doing in our community. We're letting our children grow up and say, hey, we're saying, we learned it. You got to learn it on your own. Well, I had to learn on my own. That's what being grown is all about. That is the dumbest stuff I've ever heard in my life. Our children are already behind. What did you expect them to learn? You didn't learn too much because you still don't support black businesses. You didn't learn too much because you still going to a church that has a picture of a white Jesus on it. You didn't learn too much because you still think Democrats and Republicans are going to be your salvation. Hello? Yeah, you can get mad all you want. You know, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, you want one.
It's time for us to fix our problems. Us. Nobody else. You know, and if white people are mad that we're out here advocating fixing our own problems, then that tells you just what they are really all about. Because they don't want you to fix your problems. They want you to keep sending your kids to run down schools and getting F's so they can have your kids in the big house. They don't care about you fixing your problems. You got to fix it. I keep talking about this. And when I ran across that clip from Malcolm, I'm saying, damn, this was 1964. That was 50 years ago. And we are still in the same damn predicament. Massa, we sick. Wow. Anyway, 855-525-5683. And I'm serious. When y'all have y'all little meetings now, black children, black people, black activists, don't alert the media. Don't tell people what you're planning to do. Have your meetings, sit down, put it on paper, get it together, and then launch it. Then you alert the media. And then they say, well, why did you let us know? We could have got the word out. No, we didn't want you to know because all you were going to do was run interference. In other words, the surprise attack works. Think like an alligator. You don't see him until your leg in his mouth. I feel so much better today. I need to take more needles in my neck.
Yeah, dude, you really on one today. You really on one.
So, Robert, yesterday we talked a little bit about the Byron Allen Supreme Court case, and we were wondering where it was at this point, and it's kind of been stayed. So I've been sort of perusing the web and newspapers, trying to get a barometer of what black leaders are saying about what Byron Allen is trying to do. And lo and behold, guess who I stumbled upon that actually made some excellent points that I want to read what he said today. Can you take a guess?
No.
He was a rap icon.
Okay.
That's
half of America.
Yeah, that's right. I got my rap tape coming out tomorrow, man. I need y'all to buy it. 777-9311 is the name of it. But take a guess. Pick one. He was very popular. Made a lot of money. Will you just play along?
Chuck D, man.
No.
Well, why the hell you didn't tell me to ask then? Who is it?
Try again.
Smart.
Guess again.
Chuck D. Flavor Flav.
Oh, see, now you're being facetious now.
Okay, who is it?
Flav just had a new baby, though. He like 60.
Please stop, dude.
Okay.
Really?
Okay, you got one more guess. Guess again.
Easy.
Now, how would he do it? He dead.
Hey, they had a hologram of Tupac. They don't tell him, man. They bringing folks back up in this joint.
I try to have great shows not to do.
Okay, come on.
Why would you say Easy E?
I thought maybe they reincarnated him.
Actually, it was Sean Diddy Combs.
P-Dub?
Yeah, that's why I want to read the whole thing. Because what he said, I was like, whoa.
Really?
Okay. So his company, what you don't realize, what a lot of people don't realize, he has a company called Revolt, a network company.
A network. Yeah.
And it is on some cable channels.
Right.
So from what I understand, Comcast used Revolt as a means to prove to the court that, hey, see, we got some blacks. Apparently P. Diddy didn't like that. Check this out. My name and my network, Revolt, have been mentioned recently by Comcast in reference to the Comcast Byron Allen U.S. Supreme Court case as an example of Comcast inclusive practices with respect to African American owned networks. I do not want my name to be used inaccurately, so I must speak the truth. I also want to make clear that this case is not about this case is now about much more than cable distribution. It's about civil rights of millions of African Americans and other minorities. First, it's important that people really understand what's at stake. In its effort to get the lawsuit filed by Byron Allen dismissed, Comcast has taken a legal approach that would weaken fundamental civil rights protections. I have a problem with this. The Civil Rights Act of 1866, 1981 was designed to ensure black people are able to do business in this country and not be denied because of race. Comcast is arguing that this law only applies if racial discrimination is the only factor that leads to the refusal to do business, which would extremely be hard to prove. If they are successful, it will become much harder for any victim of discrimination to seek justice in court. By taking this stance in the Supreme Court, Comcast has put its legal tactics ahead of the rights of millions of Americans to be heard. This is not okay. By the way, how many of y'all got a Comcast account? Above anything else, my goal has always been to achieve economic inclusion for black people. How can Comcast suggest that it champions diversity and inclusion if it attacks the laws that provide the foundation for economic inclusion? What good are any of their efforts if they are fighting to make it harder for victims of discrimination to be heard in court? Comcast has made this about much more than Byron Allen, and now the civil rights of my children and my community are at stake. To be clear, anything that makes it harder to fight against discrimination is wrong. Comcast is choosing to be on the wrong side of history. On Revolt, I can only share my truth of experience. Starting an independent cable network is incredibly difficult and capital intensive. The start we received from Comcast, which was a condition of the United States government approval for Comcast to acquire NBC Universal, was important, but it is not at the level of support needed to build a successful African American network. Not even close. Since the launch, our relationship has not grown, and Revolt is still not carried by Comcast in the most affordable packages, nor is Revolt available in all of the markets that would enable us to serve our target audience. Comcast spends billions of dollars on content networks every year, but just a few million go to African American owned networks like Revolt. That is unacceptable. Supporting diversity and economic inclusion requires a real partnership. The only way black-owned networks grow and thrive is with meaningful and consistent economic support. Otherwise, they are set up to fail. Revolt has never been in a position to truly compete on a fair playing field because it has not received the economic and distribution support necessary for real economic inclusion. Our relationship with Comcast is an illusion of economic inclusion. Rather than using the case to diminish civil rights protection for millions of Americans, Comcast should use this as an opportunity to listen to the community it relies on and, above all, do better. So I wanted to read that to y'all because Sean Puffy Combs, and you all, as you all know, I've never been a big fan of the rap industry. But some of you brothers have got to get it. Some of you brothers who have made money off the misery of black people have got to get it. And it seems to me that Sean Puffy Combs is getting it. Okay? Now if your boy Jay-Z would get it, we'd be in good shape. Because what would happen? What would happen if all of you brothers who got all this money started supporting black businesses? Why do I have to go to a white bank to get a loan when I ought to be able to go to Jay-Z, or I ought to be able to go to Superstar X athlete and say, hey, look, I have an idea. Would you support it? What would happen if you all banded together and put you all's money in a fund for empowering the black community and demanding that if you're going to get some of this cash, your business has to open in a predominantly black neighborhood? I appreciate Sean Puffy Combs. I couldn't tell you one thing he sang. I couldn't tell you one song he produced.
And how you gonna call him a rapper then? Dude, you got issues. You really got issues. How the hell you gonna call him a rapper then you gonna sit there and say, I can't tell you one thing you say, one thing you do. I know if you had said he was a dancer back in the day, I'd have been like, oh, P. Diddy.
Was he a dancer?
That's what everybody know him for. Don't nobody know him for rapping. Really?
Well, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
God,
That's why you can't. That's why you shouldn't be doing it. Jesus,
I'm
he's a rapper. Tell me about some rappers.
okay. He was a dancer.
All he
Okay.
had to say is he's a because now he's like this.
He was a hip hop
He's like this big
mogul.
record mogul now.
He produced a lot of rappers.
Jesus. He made money off a lot of rappers.
Yes, he
That's
did.
For sure. That's for sure.
That's
He
why I
made
said he
ton
was
of
a
money.
rapper.
He wasn't a rapper though.
Okay.
Jesus.
Why you trying to crap on my soliloquy right now?
Please do your soliloquy, Dave.
You know, you were on the phone talking to one of your girlfriends.
Pardon me.
Or
I'm just trying to make the work around.
was that like Puffy? Was that what you were doing? Were you like puffing?
You are funny.
Puff,
You
puff.
are funny.
Puff pass.
You are hilarious.
You know, so I'm just saying, but I'm proud of Sean because he understands that it's not really about his. Robert just mad because he didn't guess it. You right.
Oh, really?
You right, Latanya. You're exactly right. Tell him.
Latanya, I ain't studying you.
You're exactly right.
I ain't
You
thinking
know.
about you, Latanya.
So
Let
anyway.
me go ahead and stop bad to Latanya right quick.
Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Oh, by the way, did you hear about the white man who?
But
was
what
on-
did they say about the status of the thing? I mean, we didn't tell us anything about
the status is there. It's probably going to be sent back down to a lower court, and then we'll go from there. So it's not over by any stretch of the imagination right now. So, but I thought that was interesting because the whole point is now that black leaders have got to start standing with Byron Allen.
No, man. No, dude. I don't know why. I don't know why you're so naive.
Okay.
Seriously, why are you so naive?
I'm not naive.
You are very naive.
I am not.
Yes, you are.
I'm not.
Okay. So let's.
I believe
Let's
in.
check this out.
I believe in rainbow farts and unicorns.
So let's do this though. So when you start talking about cable companies, think about all the tentacles of cable companies.
Yep.
Think about all these tentacles. Think about all the tentacles that elected officials will be cut from if they got on this thing. Not only are they going to lose the money from Comcast and Charter, but then they're going to lose the manufacturing dollars. They're going to lose.
No, they're not.
How so? Tell me now.
Look, all this is going to do, all Byron Allen really wants to do is be able to have his cable networks on Comcast, just like Revolt. That's what really started this. But Comcast decided that they didn't want that.
See, there's a difference between Revolt and what your boy Byron Allen's doing. There's a huge difference.
Have you seen Revolt?
There's a huge difference, bro.
Have you seen Revolt?
Revolt is one channel.
Right.
One.
Right.
Byron Allen owns stations. He owns several.
Right.
It's a big difference.
What is the difference, Robert?
So you can compare the dollars. So your boy Puffy, he only getting $1 of the $10.
He's not getting that.
Well, I don't know what he get, but I'm just
Right.
saying he's getting $1 of the $10. Your boy Byron Allen trying to get $8 of the $10. That's the difference. They know what he's doing. They see it coming. That's why black folks ain't on it. Because hey man, you don't want to tangle with them if you understand how you get elected. You don't get elected because of votes. You don't get elected because of votes. You get elected because you can raise the money to buy votes. That's why you get elected. Any fool who tell you he get elected.
So you just contradicted yourself.
How so?
You said you don't get elected for votes, but you get elected
You get elected
by raising
by
money
raising money to buy votes.
to buy what?
To buy votes.
So you need votes.
Dude, you act like a vote is important. A vote ain't important.
Okay. If I never
Because somebody can buy your vote. Your vote ain't important.
No,
Because we ain't informed enough.
just because you
We're not informed enough. Because a guy can tell us that he built the Mississippi River. We'd be like, oh my God, he's incredible. If not for him, we wouldn't have had those steamboats going down the river. Not even knowing they built the Mississippi River years ago, right? It got nothing to do with it. But again, we ain't informed. They inundate us with information because they can raise the dollars. They can raise the dollars.
They inundate us with misinformation.
No.
Yeah.
You don't know it's misinformation when you're reading and you regurgitate all your friends. and family.
Well, you don't.
know then.
But it is ultimately misinformation, and the reason they do that is because of our ignorance. Our job
It
here.
ain't our ignorance. It ain't
Yeah,
our ignorance.
it
Oh
is.
no. Oh no.
It is.
Let me tell you what it is. Let me
Okay,
tell you
what
what
is
it
it,
is. So the thing is, and the thing I've learned about politics, the great thing about politics is that particularly black folk, we look at leaders because they're cute, they're charismatic, They're
preacher.
they're a preacher. They went to the right school. We don't look at the stuff we need to be looking at. We don't look at that.
But isn't that ignorance? Yes.
No, I'm not gonna say it's ignorant.
You just don't want to
I'm not
use
gonna
my
say it's
word.
ignorant.
It is ignorance.
No, I'm not gonna say our people are ignorant.
You-
Our people are
you
not
don't look at
our
substance.
People are not very. Our people are not very informed.
You don't look at substance.
And unfortunately, what they learn is that people really aren't. Politicians, most of them, aren't really out to help people. They're just out to help themselves.
That's
And-
ignorance that you don't know that.
And the bad thing about that is, so people say, well, how can you tell?
Oh,
those
quit trying to
people?
suck up to Robert Latanya now that you don't heard his
That's right,
feelings.
Latanya, that's
Talking
right.
about Robert is right.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Robert.
But I mean, that's it. We just don't. We don't look for the candidate who would do the best job for us, or who will bring up the important issues and have.
Why is that?
conversations about the important issues.
Why is it we don't do that?
Because we're not informed.
Because
we're not
we're-
trying to inform ourselves.
Well, being uninformed, isn't that a form
You want to
of...
say you just dying to call black people ignorant, aren't you? Do you even like black people? Do you even like them? Jesus, they ignorant.
Sometimes.
Is that what you want to say? Just say they ignorant.
No.
They's ignorant.
Come
on, Dave.
Isn't lack of being informed a form of ignorance?
No, man, it's just a lack
Yes,
of
it
being
is.
informed.
It's a
But
form of
again,
ignorance. Okay.
We should-
Wait a minute. Let's break this down.
Okay.
All right. If you tell me to bake a cake, and I bring you back a pie, and you say, "Well, wait a minute. I asked for a cake," and I said, "Well, I don't know how to bake a cake, but I know how to bake a pie." Aren't I ignorant of the fact of baking cakes? Yes, I am. You don't have to agree with me. That was a great analogy.
You like to think it was.
It was.
You like to think it was.
So what I don't know is a form of ignorance. Okay, ignorance is not necessarily a negative word, although it can have negative connotations. Ignorance is a lack of understanding. Okay? And we as black people, we talk about this every day. We have a lack of understanding of how this country works. You know, part of the reason that I tell people, read the Constitution, because if you read you know what really woke me up about this country?
What's that?
I read the damn Constitution. And I said, you know what I said? Damn.
Yeah, it made you think, didn't it?
Exactly. And I'm being serious. And then I read when I got to the 13th Amendment, I read that 4 or 5 times. And this was like 35 years ago when I was on my road to discovery. It hit me like a ton of bricks that this country has never been designed. And then, of course, with my history background and knowing what some of the founding fathers had said, This country has never been designed for black people. But black people are ignorant of that fact. So part of why I tell people to read the Constitution is because you got to understand the laws by which you are governed in this country. Many of y'all don't know that. Many of y'all don't understand what the 3/5 compromise was all about.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
You see what I'm saying? So what we've got to do is educate ourselves. That's why I've been big. You know, I love me some Tracy Ann. I'm a product of public schools.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, that I've said it over and over again, that the charter train bus has left the station.
Mm-hmm.
And the station is in Northwest Arkansas. And you're not going to beat back charter schools. So it's more, if you can't beat them, join them. And this time you ain't joining them. You're joining them in order to educate your own children, to empower them for the future. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. We are ignorant of their laws, and they use their laws against us. This thing about charter schools has been coming for 25 years. We've been sitting around twiddling our thumbs. Oh, they wouldn't do that. They've been telling you they don't want to educate your children. It's called white flight. They've been telling you they don't want you to sit with their children. It's called white flight. That guy talking about paddling, and it's so comical. Okay, do you want let's say, we remember the story we had yesterday about the school where the teachers in Alabama, the kids discovered this secret chat room about how the teachers really felt about them.
Right.
Do you really want those teachers paddling your kids?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think Ryan was talking about the kids know in the school district they have no consequences for whatever they do. So therefore, there are things that they do that they wouldn't otherwise do, right? So some of the behavior they display, they know that they can't be punished. So
whose fault is that? The school system fault?
Well, that's the point he made about the parents, and you just went all off on the man. You didn't even try to hit a man out. But
I gave him 6 minutes.
That's the point he was making to you, Dave. He was saying, "Hey, these kids feel like they have no repercussions. They don't have any. There's no discipline for them. They won't be disciplined. So if I'm not going to be disciplined, then I can do whatever the hell I want to in school." And that's essentially what he was saying.
So what you're saying is black parents are not holding up their end of the bargain. Is that
no? That's what Ryan said.
That's what Ryan was saying.
That's what Ryan was saying.
You seem to be agreeing with Ryan.
No, I'm just giving you his point because you wanted to rip his point up. That's all. You
No,
wanted.
because
you just wanted to rip the man up.
No,
you ain't even try to hear what the man was saying to you.
No, did you know Ryan?
Yeah.
So he
What
was
that mean?
like so he was like a plant.
Oh my God! You gotta be a plant. How am I playing it? If I was gonna play, he wouldn't have said that. He'd have called and said, "Dave, meet me outside."
So you had Ryan to call in order to try to get my dander up, didn't you? Oh, that was so sophomoric of you.
Oh, Jesus. Hey, if anything, I would have went outside and called myself.
See what you didn't know.
I would have went outside. And
See, when
myself.
I talk about the responsibility of black parents, here's Robert Webb. Oh, no, Dave. No, Dave. I ain't going to let you do that, man. I ain't going to let you do that. But your little buddy called, okay? Your little buddy called,
Dave.
and you sat there like a Cheshire cat.
I just listened.
And you don't even interrupt him at all.
No, because I wanted to hear him out. I wanted to hear him out. I wanted to hear him out.
Yeah.
And before
Subterfuge, my
before I could
friends.
even respond, you had already went back in.
And he hadn't even told us that it was his friend. You see how he do us?
How I do that?
You see how Robert do us, black focused listeners?
Are you hating on my fan?
You know,
I'm hating on my fan.
I'm just saying.
But no, I think he made some very good points, and even though
he was wrong.
Even though, well, I think when he said we need to beat the hell out of the kids, I think everybody was like, "Oh my God!" And after that, everybody shut down, right? But he did make some very. I
don't have a problem about punishing.
He did make some very good points. There is no corporal punishment in schools, and a lot of people believe.
But you know why there is no corporal punishment in schools?
A lot of people believe that was part of the reason that schools started going down because you weren't allowed to.
A lot of people believe that part of the reason schools started going down was because of no prayer in schools.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. But you know why there's no corporal punishment in schools?
No, Dave, tell me why you think there's no corporal punishment in schools.
Integration.
Why people didn't want black people beating their kids?
Exactly.
I get that. That makes sense. Okay.
Exactly.
But my point again.
You've got to give little Johnny a time out.
You got to say this again. Stop. You are sick, man. Hey,
we don't spank our children at home. We make them do chores.
You are a sick man.
You know that's why. That's not just me saying it. That research has shown in some cases that's why. When you talk about white flight, okay? They don't want black teachers spanking white kids. All right? So they took all the corporal punishment out, and now as Malcolm says, the chickens have come home to roost. Because you're right, there is no punishment. You see? But if you see, my thing is this, and maybe I just grew up in a different time. You know, and I taught my kids this. Look, when you're away from me, you represent me. Okay? So if you go to school and you get in trouble, and I trust you to tell me the truth, and if you tell me the truth, I'm going to be on your side. But if I go up to that school and find out that you weren't doing what you were supposed to do, it's going to be hell. I never had that problem with my kids. Because I could always trust them that they would be telling me the truth, that, Dad, this is what happened. And then I'd go up to the school, listen intently. A lot of times they were right. A lot of times they were wrong, too. But part of the reason there's no corporal punishment is because white people don't want it. They don't want it. Hell, they don't. I saw a state the other day that now if you leave your dog outside and it's too cold, they can arrest you. Okay? That's crazy, man.
Crazy, right?
That's crazy. You think of it, I saw another meme, and I can't think of all of it, but the last one was Michael Vick. Think of all these people. Oh, it was about these mass shooters. All of them, some of them got sent to the insane asylums. They were said they were crazy and all this other stuff. Michael Vick, he didn't kill anybody. He just fought dogs. He spent 3 years in prison. That speaks to what you talk about all the time about the value of black people.
Value of blacks, yeah.
You know, and you know that piece I read to you about the taxpayers and the money that they spend. I mean, there's a great graphic. Go out and look at it. I mean, it's just unbelievable that the money this country spends for prison as opposed to education. It makes no sense to me. But,
yes, it does.
Well, it does if you understand what they're doing. But logically speaking, you're locking up the majority of the people that you're going to need to depend on when your old ass gets old. That's the bottom line on this. Look, changing the dynamics of this country is not going to stop. 2042 is real, white folks. Okay? It's real. There's nothing you can do about genetics. Over time, the dominant gene will always beat out the recessive gene. That's science. So what you ought to be doing, and as I said this to a white friend of mine a while
I
back.
Stop because see, here you go. You're back on your rant, and unfortunately, Dave, you're going to lose the rant, and this is why.
Can I finish my rant first?
If you do your research, 80% of black folks are religious. So therefore, there's certain things that they just can't do. God ain't going to let them. So they ain't going to do certain things, Dave. So, dude, you talking crazy. But go ahead, though. Go ahead. Please continue.
All right. I'm just simply saying is that if you want to make sure that your little lily white children are taken care of in the future, the only way you can do that is make sure that the civil rights that are on the books today have teeth. Because guess what? Eventually, you're going to be going to my son for a job. And he'll have the right to say, oh, you know what? I don't think we need any more white people. See ya. That's what y'all do all the time. That's what y'all do every day. I read an article today about a lady she sued her company because she was coming to get a job. They wouldn't promote her and told her that they had already hired their quota of black people and fired her and hired a white woman in her place. And one of the witnesses who...
She prayed for it.
Yeah, I'm sure she did. And one of the witnesses for her said the only reason that they didn't fire him was because he was gay and he met the gay quota. It's sad, but it's funny. So what I'm saying to white people is that it's coming. I may not be here, but it's coming.
What's coming again?
And if you all are not willing to fight for civil rights now, we ain't gonna be willing to fight for civil rights for y'all later, cause you ain't gonna stop it.
In 20 years I'll be 70.
Hey, I'm wrong. Well, I'm a capitalist.
Yep, I still will be my brother.
855-525.
I'm hoping these young brothers like who was in here. I hope these young brothers, man. I hope these young brothers can come in and do some really positive things. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
They can come in and do some really positive things.
And that's why we got to continue to teach them, hey, I'll drop as much knowledge on you if you want to hear. I don't have no problem with it. I'm not afraid of you replacing me. Some of y'all are. But I'm not afraid of you replacing me because I'm irreplaceable.
Well, people say you got nothing to give. You got nothing to give up. You know, they looking at it. I mean, I will admit. I mean, you know, there is some, you know, some good influence that comes with being an advocate. You get access.
You're not allowed to use that word anymore.
You get access as an advocate to things you otherwise probably wouldn't have access to.
You're not allowed
So
to
pretty
use that word
soon,
anymore.
I'm gonna bring y'all in and introduce my replacement when he's ready. He's not ready. He's not quite ready yet.
Okay.
But knock on wood, he'll be ready soon.
Tanya, you did. I agree with it. She said, but you can leave humans in the cold. That's the irony behind that.
What you mean? I'm not leaving anybody in the cold.
No, listen. When we were talking about if you leave dogs out in the cold, you can go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
But we see homeless people all around. In fact, there was something that happened apparently at the board meeting the other night.
Man, at some point, y'all gonna realize it's all about money.
Oh, I know.
At some point, y'all gonna get it.
It was something that happened at the board meeting the other night where they were Rock Metro, the CEO, basically said that he said the homeless can kiss his ass.
Yeah.
That's really what he said.
Yeah.
He didn't. He worded in nice prose and
We're gonna bring
commentary.
him on the show.
But
I'm
he
gonna give him a call.
he basically said the homeless people in Little Rock can kiss his ass.
I'm gonna bring him on the show.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring, but they are white people, so I don't know why. Because that's what they say. They're white people, so why would we care? But I'm gonna bring him on the show so we can.
He's not gonna come on.
Yeah, he'll be.
They're scared of you, Robert.
Who? Nobody's scared of me.
You know what we need, and I'm gonna talk to my intern. I'm gonna have her to stop booking our guests.
Okay, who you gonna book?
Well, I'm just saying we can tell her, give her the number, and show her how to start booking guests.
Okay.
And that way, with her little sweet voice,
Yeah, whatever.
I'm
Who's our
serious.
intern?
That works. Jemiah.
Jamal's back.
Well, she's not back, but she does still.
She still does stuff.
She
All right,
still-
what's up, Jay?
So I'm trying to keep her incorporated. So hopefully she'll come up one day next week as well since she's going to be out on
yeah,
break.
school, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, if we start getting like a little cute, little nice, sexy voice woman, hi, hi, I'm Robert.
Yeah, that's funny. That's really funny. No, I'm gonna give him a call. He'll come on. I'll give him
By the way, speaking of which, in
Hey,
living
don't forget
living
to
color is
come
coming back.
Tuesday, man.
Who?
Your boy Mike Ford.
Oh, he is.
Don't forget your boy Mike Ford.
Oh, suki now.
Your boy Mike P gonna be up in the house.
Okay, this is your boy.
Huh?
All right, make sure.
I ain't my boy.
You got his number. I don't.
Ooh, you and your feelings. You got his number. I don't.
Y'all the one go by first name. You don't call it Mr. Poor or Master Poor or Massa Poor.
You are very funny. You are very funny.
I'm just saying, sir. I'm just saying. Okay. Let's see. A local fraternity gives away 500 turkeys. Good for you. Okay. Yeah. Instead of giving away how about teaching people how to hunt for turkeys? Okay. You just want publicity. Oh, look at us. We're a fraternity. We're giving away 500 turkeys. No. Why don't you take that money that you bought? Because let's see. What is turkey? You'd probably say, 500 turkeys. That may be what? $1,500. Okay. How about take that $1,500 and go shop at a black business? I bet you bought the turkeys at Walmart or Kroger or Safeway. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be mean today. I feel good. I got a shot. By the way, Black Man Buys Essence magazine, makes it 100% black again. Fantastic. I meant to talk about that story the other day.
What black man bought?
If you all don't know, at one point, Essence magazine was bought by BET and then Viacom. And this past year, they've been trying to sell off portions of Essence. And now Richard Dennis, owner of Sundial Brands that operates Shea Moisture, has bought it. Okay. Essence Ventures announced the sale on Wednesday and didn't disclose specific details. All right. In a phone interview with the New York Times, Dennis said of the sale, this will give Essence a platform and a voice to serve its consumers, which are women of color. They have allowed us to invest into the business so that we can bring the infrastructure and resources. So good for him. That's what I'm talking about. See, that brother had money. He said, hey, look, I'm going to keep that money with us's. Okay?
How he do that? He gave that money to the white man to buy it back.
It
He
don't-
bought us back, Dave.
At least he bought us back.
Bought us back.
So at least he bought us back. And that's what we all ought to be doing. That's what we all ought to be doing, is buying us back. And if you got political leaders who are not willing to buy us back, then you need to kick them to the
No,
curb.
we gotta buy them back.
I don't give a damn about them. If I gotta buy you back, you lost for me.
No.
You are.
Dude, and we don't- this is the
no,
problem with black folks. We don't
It ain't no
understand how
problem.
things
Ain't no
work.
problem with us. Why you always trying to say black people got a
Because-
problem? We do not.
Yes, we do. We don't
What's the
understand
problem?
how things work. Politics, well, hold on. Let me back up. 'Cause I'm gonna tell a big lie.
Okay.
Everything is about money. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's all about money. Now, The thing that's interesting is that we don't understand the money in politics. We don't understand the money anywhere. We don't understand the financial components of things that we interact in. That's what's killing us because we don't understand the financial element, the financial component. That's what's killing us.
Okay, so let me explain to you what I'm saying. Okay.
Woosah.
Okay.
Woosah.
Those politicians that are already bought off, we don't need them anymore. They're bought off. They're
you wanna get rid of them?
they're fruits of the poisonous tree.
Okay. I'm cool with that if you want to get
Okay.
rid of them, Dave.
So
But who you gonna get in that
okay,
place?
if I may
Who you
finish,
gonna get in that
if
place?
I may finish, Mr. Well,
You got a wealth in most cases, you got a wealth of knowledge there. You got a wealth of knowledge there that you're going to lose. They know how to skirt the system and get around and do things.
if I may
you're gonna
finish,
lose all that because you
yeah,
wanna
see
get- you wanna
that's
start
that
all over
same old tired argument that we always hear, and
No,
we
it ain't.
always end up voting.
I'm just saying- I'm saying-
how much of that
No,
wealth?
no,
Of,
no,
no.
saying-
How much of that
No,
wealth
no,
of
no, no,
wealth
no.
of knowledge has benefited black people?
None.
Case closed. I didn't know it was going to be that easy. Lord have mercy. So if
What's
you,
unfortunate is that we never get any benefit from whether they're black or white. Because
right.
We have yet to take ownership of them.
right, so
We don't own
so
them.
we can't own them
But
now.
so hold
They
on, Dave.
already pre-owned.
Hold on, Dave.
They've already been
Dave,
used.
Dave.
Their cherries have already been popped.
Dave, the question is do we want to own them?
No.
Because if
We don't want to own them
so, who you want? to own
because those are
somebody else?
Benedict's honors. They'll sell us out in a minute because they know the system.
They already sold you out.
Exactly.
The reason they sold you out, Dave, was because they didn't have a choice.
Okay.
They are
Yeah,
bought-
you
they
always
are
have a
bought-
choice.
Oh no, they don't.
You always have a choice.
No.
You always have
Not
no
for them,
choice.
because if
Not
you-
for them because
not
they
for
have
them.
no morality for their people.
Well, I don't know if that's what you want to say. But
That's what I just said. What do you mean I don't know what I wanted
The
to
thing
say?
is these people got to get reelected. They can't get reelected just because they can't fall on the cross.
What about
'Cause
the-
black people ain't gonna show up?
What
Let
about
me tell you something.
what about the term
Let me
limit
tell you
people?
the
They
one
can
thing.
fall on the cross.
No, they can't fall on
Look,
the
you
cross.
saw Obama. He was term limited. What did he do?
Nothing.
Not a damn thing.
But
Exactly.
the thing is, black folk don't fall on the cross for black folk because black folk do not come out and support them.
I agree.
When they fall on the cross,
So-
they can't fall.
Okay.
They can't down no hill because
Okay.
ain't nobody gonna come get the body and bury it.
Okay.
They just gonna sit there and rot to death.
I'll be a zombie.
No, they just rot to
They'll
death.
be like the Walking Dead.
They'll rot to death.
So here's
Just like right now, your boy Frank Scott is down there trying to do his thing, and he said, "Hey, you know what?
he has no power.
East of 630, south of 630, east of 40, whatever. It's all been lacked. Everybody, y'all have been misused and abused.
You know what Frank's
And
problem
now
is?
we're gonna focus in on y'all. Okay?
Frank need to go in and start kicking ass.
He's already doing that, man.
No.
but nobody's going out to the board meeting getting him support.
No,
though.
he's not.
Nobody's going out to the board.
He's
meeting
taking a
getting
lot
him
of
support.
pictures.
Nobody's going to the board.
He's taking a
meeting.
lot of pictures.
He's doing what he's got to do because that's what y'all bougie black folks like. Y'all
no,
bougie black
he's
folks like
taking
to
a
take
lot of
pictures
pictures.
and let people know y'all hanging out
But
with a bunch of white folks.
here's-
That's the kind of
if-
stuff y'all do.
if
Dave.
I
That's
were the mayor-
bougie, that's the black aristocrats.
If I were the
that's
mayor,
the black bougie. That's a bougie black folk. Take a picture with me, boss. Boss, take a picture with me.
If I
want
were
all
the
other
mayor-
slaves to know that we's good, boss.
you don't like black people, do you? If I were the mayor, every week I'd be in the media raising hell about that city board. If I were the mayor, every week I'd be putting something on my Facebook page imploring black people to come to the city board meeting and see how this board functions.
That would hurt. That would hurt you.
But see, that's what you got to do to them. All right? But let me go back to my point about these bought politicians. As you said, they've been bought and paid for. They ain't doing nothing for us. Okay? So here's what we have to do now. We need to roll all of them out on a rail. All right? And we need to put new politicians in that are bought and paid for with our money. That's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing. See, before you jumped all down my throat, like the line from Dolomite, I was getting to that point. Okay?
Okay.
Is that you're right, we have to buy
we gotta
politicians.
buy 'em back.
But the ones that are currently there, the majority of them for black people, needs to go. Okay?
I'm not disagreeing.
I'm saying let's find new, like that young brother that was in here. Okay? Let's find new politicians that we can buy and pay for. That's all I'm saying, brother. Now apologize, because you You were just trying to make me look bad with my audience, and I really appreciate that.
Hey, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Merry Christmas.
I don't celebrate Christmas.
Really?
Really?
Well, happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, no, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving.
Happy Halloween.
Oh, you want to put on Devil's Day for me, huh?
Happy Juneteenth.
Oh, that's better.
You happy now?
Yeah.
Moving right along.
Gosh, how did we get there?
Moving right along, player.
Right.
No, seriously, man. Honestly, it is really hard to. It is really hard to.
That reminds me of Forum Monday night with all the candidates over at Willie Hinton. I think I'll go.
It's Monday night.
The 25th, is that Monday night? Yeah, at 5:30. I think I'll go.
Yeah, Monday night.
I'm going to go and sit in the back with a black hoodie on.
With all the candidates?
Yeah,
only
it's gonna
had
be
2 on the
4.
show. It's going to be all 4 of them?
Yeah, now, I didn't see, they didn't have
No,
Robert
Tyler's running as
Talley.
an independent.
Okay, but still he ought to be on that forum.
No, they wouldn't have him on the forum.
Why not?
Because they're all Democrats.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does. He's running as an independent.
So are the Democrats putting this on?
Probably. It's probably the Democratic Black Caucus.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's going to be.
It's going to be interesting. That's where I'm going.
Dude, you evils. You evils. Man, you evil.
Why?
Because, man.
I want to see the chaos that ensues.
Why do you think it'd be chaos?
It's going to be chaos because nobody's going to talk about substance.
I think you'd be surprised.
That's why I'm going to be surprised.
Dude, you are so.
I want to be surprised. Damn, please, somebody.
Stop!
That's where I'm going. I want to be surprised.
Dave.
Look, I hope it don't break out into a damn campaign rally. I want substance. Okay?
I believe you get it.
I want substance. I want to know what you're going to do. What is your agenda? I don't care what someone else did before you. I don't care what somebody did beside you. When anything that you do, whether you start a business, you're running for office, you have specific thought processes of what you want to do with that business or office. What do you want to do? And how do you plan to get it accomplished? That's what we, though, if we as black people ask those 2 questions, what are you going to do and how are you going to get it accomplished? We could solve a lot of problems. Because I would argue that majority of them, they don't know what the hell they're going to do, and they sure as hell don't know how to get anything accomplished. That's what we ought to start with. Those are the 2 questions that we ought to start asking. That's just my opinion. Y'all get mad at me all I want, but this is a new day. That same old, look where it has gotten us. Nowhere. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. Look at your neighborhoods. Look at your communities. Look at the people that you voted to represent you. It has gotten you nothing. Did you hear the beginning of the show? 1.5% of the economy in 1866 was owned by black people. In 2019, black people still own 1.5% of the economy. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I've told you that we're sick. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing coined it as menticide. We are sick. It's time to take the castor oil, baby. You don't need the Creole motion. You don't need that little sweet tasting stuff. You need some black drought or some castor oil. That's going to knock it out of you. It's time. Ugh, castor oil.
You got issues, bro. You got issues.
But anyway, I enjoyed the show. Thanks for inviting the guest.
Yeah, they were good.
Enjoyed the young brother, and hopefully, I need you to text me that his
Oh, the Cash App thing?
his Cash App. I'm gonna send him some money. I was gonna actually give him cash, but I don't have any money on me. I thought I had some
Yeah,
dollars.
big bank. You don't tell big bank. Huh?
No, I
Big
don't,
bank.
no, I don't carry that chump change. You know, the little dollars and stuff, man. I give them dollars to strippers. You know what I'm saying?
Jesus.
I'm in love with a stripper. Anyway, we got to get out of here. But I enjoyed the show, and I hope you did as well. We'll be back tomorrow, and I can still put my hand over my head.
That's pretty good.
I'm serious. Y'all have no idea. Last night I woke up and my right arm was numb. I couldn't even move it.
What's up with that?
That's part of what I'm going through. So anyway. But we got to get out of here. I hope you all have a great, great Thursday afternoon, and because we certainly will. And we're going to keep this thing going, man. We're agents of change here. Okay? We're going to make this happen. It has to start in your mind, and then it has to continue in your household, and then it needs to spread to your neighbor, your friends, and then it needs to spread to your neighborhoods. Each one of us must demand teach one of us. I know that wasn't grammatically correct, but that was my quote, Robert. I know, do you have your quote for today?
I got a bunch of quotes, man.
Okay.
You ready, Dave?
Like 60 seconds ago.
But what of black women? I most sincerely doubt that any other race of woman could have brought its fineness up through so devilish a fire. W.E.B. Du Bois, y'all. My dude, my dude. Hey, spend money in your own community, y'all. If y'all don't do it, nobody else will. Peace.
Oh, and by the way, do yourselves a favor. Just go out to the Black Focus wall and look at Joshua. Joshua lived from 6 BC to 70 AD. And then look at the picture of Jesus, that picture was created in 1769. You got to start asking questions, folks. I'm not trying to challenge your religion. I'm just trying to educate you on what's happening. See you tomorrow.
Peace.
Look at this.
Black as fuck, ain't he?
You've been listening to Black Focus, where we discuss our
This is how they
issues,
portrayed
our
Jesus
solutions,
during
and
this
our
time
voices. Join us every
When the
week
Catholic Church,
afternoon at 1
see, that's
p.m.
Caesar Borgia.
on JoinTradio.com.
Y'all are living a trick, man. And they don't even realize it. And then they'll get mad at you when you try to awaken them. Brother, I'm just trying to awake you to who you really are. Because that's what's powerful about this. I posted another picture on here, man, and it just blows me away when you start looking at some of these people here and where we came from. It just, as I tell people, why would Egyptians paint themselves black if they weren't black? Think about that. Why would all the hieroglyphics be black if they weren't black? That just don't make any sense to me. We're going to leave this because we want to make sure everybody think we were white. So we're going to paint pictures like we're white. It makes no sense whatsoever, man. I'm just saying. Anyway. All right, we got to get out of here. I know what I was going to ask you. Hang on just a second. Let me end this.